Hello, this is our little look around a very special yacht club, the Marchwood Yacht Club. The site of the yacht club was once the largest gunpowder magazine in Britain. It lies just opposite the docks and the container terminal. All the walls and the buildings that are left standing have been listed by English Heritage and are a very important part of our naval history. The Yacht Club took over the two buildings in 1962. The first building is the watch house and office, and you can see the date there when that was completed, 1814. The second building is the guardhouse and engine room, or was. Between the two buildings is quite an elaborate gateway to the Ordnance House, which was the residence of the superintendent storekeeper, and it was quite a large house. And Marchwood has a large boat park. I think it's about 5 acres, and of course this was the garden of the superintendent storeman. Marchwood Yacht Club is run by its members. It's very unusual. It doesn't employ anybody. There's the drive to it and the house itself, which was pulled down in the 70s. It was a very important job to be superintendent of such a large gunpowder store. The veranda to these buildings was added later in 1850. This aerial view shows the last magazine which is there for us to see. There were 7 magazines by 1853, and this one still has its walls. Is an outer wall and then the inner walls. Now, the most important thing in storing gunpowder is ventilation. It has to be kept exactly right, and these little portals allow air to flow through the hollow walls. Each of those portals would have had a little wooden door so they could adjust the temperature. There's a perimeter wall that goes around the magazine itself, and at the land side of the magazine is a blast wall to deflect any explosion which might occur in the event of the magazine exploding. The barrels of gunpowder would have been brought by sea, unloaded on the other side of this long building, which is the receiving room. The barrels would be inspected for any metal bands that might be on them, which would cause sparks, so they were rejected. There was a pier that went out from this side into the deeper water. All metal used in these buildings would be bronze or copper, but of course that has been long stripped away. Beneath this whole floor is a ventilating system, and through this hatch you can see how it was built in arches. These brick arches have been covered with a layer of sand and then concrete on top, so that the building can provide a use. It also protects this important piece of history for future generations should they want to re-look at it. The magazine would have had a roof of an unusual kind for a magazine, because it was a soft top magazine. It would have been made of pantiles and then heavy thick slates to add even more ventilation to the roof area, which was so important. There were 7 magazines like this on this site. this is the last and only one remaining. 5 of them were destroyed by enemy action during the last war. At that time they were storing anti-aircraft ammunition, and I believe at the time over 1 million rounds went up in the first raid. It must have been quite an explosion. Now we will look along the public footpath that runs across the top of the slipway, and it's a very pleasant little walk round here. We go past the receiving room, or the inspection room as I like to call it, inspecting the gunpowder, and we come to the walls that mark the seaside perimeter of the magazine. Now if we look through this other gateway, we can see another blast wall, which tells us that those buildings in front of the blast wall was another magazine. Remember, there were 7 magazines altogether. Further along this wall, we actually come to some semaphore markings that have been scratched into the wall. I'm assuming that they were scratched in to remind the person that was doing the semaphore of some of the signals that they would receive. They were obviously sending messages across Southampton water, which was a lot wider in those days. Even the bricks themselves tell a little story, as you can see the military markings on them of the arrow. It's a very friendly club, and if you have a boat, there's always someone to give you some wise advice and help you. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that little look round one of the best sailing clubs in the area. Goodbye for now.